Okay, welcome to day 3 of Paid to be a Cycle Breaker. Today, we're going to build on what we've already done over the last 2 days. This is my signature method for how I teach women to do business. If you're new, if you've never heard me speak, if you don't know anything about me, you're going to want to go watch class 1 where I talked about your roots, your story, what you've been through, what you've overcome, your lived experience, and the culture, the roots of who you are to build a business from that. I also share a lot about my story in that session. Today, I'm going to be sharing a few micro specific stories on what we're teaching today and why I teach the way that I do. But nonetheless, I have been in business now for 10 years. I started my first business as a virtual assistant, and then I was an OBM, and then I ran an agency. I scaled my agency to 6 figures. I did consulting, coaching, multi 6 figure coaching. I retired my agency, and now I only coach women, and I have a company, Breadwinner Energy. I help women make money and reclaim wealth through their roots, through whatever it is you inherited. Most women that come into my world specifically have inherited probably trauma or poverty or something that's like, well, business is really hard for me because I didn't inherit a lot of money or a trust fund or all the other, maybe I don't have a rich husband, right? Like it's all these things, but being the breadwinner of your own life allows you to not be dependent on others, on a man, on a relationship, on a job, and that is why you want or have built a business. The problem with that being is you've built a business in a way that doesn't work for you, right? It's like run ads, hire all these coaches and learn all these skills and get all these certifications and do it this way and do it that way. And that doesn't work for you. And then you hire and then you fire. And then you're like, okay, I spent this money and this time doing the things that are not working for me. And I just want to know what the thing is so I can make money and impact. There are two kinds of business owners, and I will die on this hill. There's the people that are in business for people, and there's the people that are in business because they like the game of business. And those are not two, they're not the same people. Because if you're in the game of people, you want to make a lot of money, don't get me wrong, and you want freedom and you want to live your life and all those things, but you actually care about making impact and changing people's lives. Your entire business model is about changing people's lives. You have something burning within you that's like, I just want other people to feel this, to hear this, to experience this, and not go through what I went through. If you're in the game of business because you like the game of business, you care a lot about numbers and analytics and ads and funnels and bells and whistles and tech because you like that game and how to get a lot of people into that game to buy the thing, right? And that's not the same business model, but that is the business model that's been taught across the board. And because you're a person who's in business for people, you're like, this doesn't work for me. Selling and like spam DMing a bunch of people with like a mini chat and a comment, and then that thing goes to this other thing. You're like, fucking kill me now. That sounds terrible. I don't operate that way. I don't want to do that. It feels painful to build your business in that way. And it gets you into the cycle of it feels like you're losing intimacy with clients. It feels like you're not able to build actual relationships. So what happens? You stay stuck in one-to-one, or you stay stuck in not having clients or one-off clients or here and there clients because you're like, I just want to change lives. You've never been taught how to build a business that makes a lot of impact, that gives you freedom, that does change lives and works for you in a way that allows the business to be a business and a machine. And I'm going to teach you what that is today. See, I built my entire business on relationships. I did not run ads. I don't have that big of an audience. My first 6 figures back in 2021, I had, I don't know, like less than 500 people on my email list. And I still to this day only have like 7,000 followers on Instagram. I still have a small audience. But my agency was built solely on referrals. We went to 6 figures only on word of mouth. And what happened was when I first started, I had $100 to my name, wrecked credit, no degree. I was 7 months pregnant. And I was like, I just have a shitty Toshiba laptop, PayPal, and I've been an assistant at like a bajillion jobs. I can be a virtual assistant and I just want to be at home with my daughter. So I get my laptop and I email all these people and I'm like, I can be your VA, I can be your assistant, whatever, right? I book a few clients. Fast forward 2 years later, 2018, I'm leading an abusive relationship and I'm a single mom and I don't have enough money to pay the bills. And I'm like, I want to niche down in VA work to wedding professionals. I always loved the wedding industry. I like dreamed of being in the wedding industry and being a wedding planner, which is crazy to even think about now. I email a bunch of wedding professionals and a couple of them book me. and they were in California. And before I knew it, we had a booked out agency in 6 months from that point, just because of those wedding professionals I had emailed who told other wedding professionals in California about me as their VA and how I had done such great work for them. They absolutely loved working with me and the relationship that we had, and it was so easy to tell all wedding professionals to hire me. And before you know it, booked out agency. I barely used social media back then. And the only reason I did use social media back then, and I think if you even scroll back on my Instagram, you can find those days back when, before I transitioned into coaching, where I didn't use it, right? Like it was just like pink blocks of like text. I didn't even know what I was doing. I was just like, I don't really want to do this, but I was told to do social media. Okay. Book out agency solely on relationships. I was then asked to do consulting because they were like, hey, like you're really good at building businesses. You're really good at business advice. Can you consult in my business and tell me what to do? And I was like, sure, I guess. But as COVID hit and the wedding professional industry kind of took a hit, I was like, you know what? I really want to pivot into coaching. And so I did. And I coached service providers how to build service-based businesses because I had just done it for 5 years up until an agency and I built it on relationships. Now, I'm going to skip the rest of that. Right now, we're in 2026. I've had six-figure launches, multi six-figure years. My brand collectively has made well over seven figures, and I've done it based on relationships. Summits, bundles, collaborations, literally having conversations with people, being a real person. My clients will come work with me. They're like, I absolutely loved working with you. They'll tell other people, they'll refer people. And my whole business has been built on literally relationships and service. Yesterday in yesterday's call, we talked about reciprocity, which is all about building a business based on service, doing a good job at what you do, being good at your work, taking care of people, being in the business of people and changing people's lives. And so that was what I did. I was like, I just want to change people's lives. And so Breadwinner Energy helped women become the breadwinner of their own life, leave abusive relationships as I had done, leave jobs as I had done, and walk away from systems that were built against women so that you could have your own money. So if you needed to leave a relationship, you could. If you needed to leave a family cycle, you could. If you needed to leave a job, you could. One of the women in this room, she just left her 9 to 5 by working with me, right? That was what we built. And so for years, I helped literally have women tell me, I've divorced my abusive ex-husband. I've divorced my alcoholic ex-husband. I'm traveling. I'm living the life of my dreams. I've bought land. I've left my job because of the work of Breadwinner Energy. I don't teach business in a way that most do because my focus is on how do you build from your roots, your core, your lived experience of who you are and what you've been through, because people want to learn from people who have actually walked the walk. And the more you do it, the more authentic you are because it's literally just you and it's your life and the life you have, right? We talked about the cycles that you broke, which is why we're doing this, paid to be a cycle breaker, what you've walked through, right? And using that and your story and your journey to create the rest of your business, okay? And then being in service, being a person who cares about people and having offers that are built on that. And then today we're going to talk about how all paths lead to Rome. I'm going to show you on the board what this looks like in real time, how to implement this into your business so you can have a business that is simple. A business that does not require all the bells and the whistles and the tech and the things and being in all the platforms and all the places, because honestly, not only is it exhausting, most women are not, we're not made that way. Most women are raising children or have chronic health issues, and I dealt with both throughout my career. And we aren't in business because we want to just like sit at a computer all day and be in business. We're like, I need a simple business model that brings in people, that creates relationships, creates money, right? Because we have to stay in business and changes lives. And if I can just do that, I don't need anything else. I just want to live my life and be present with my children, take care of myself, and live like outside of the walls of my home and my office and my computer. And I want to know that the work I'm doing is changing lives because this is where the relationships part comes in. And also, while I'm doing this, tell me in the chat, what kind of business do you have? You have a service-based business, a product-based business? Are you a coach? Are you a mentor, a guide, a healer? Like, tell me what that is in the chat while I do this, okay? Because here's the thing. I am Indigenous. I've openly shared that I'm Native American, and I have been raised, right, under certain values and belief systems that I still carry to this day that are important to me in my marriage and my home and my children and the way that I decide to make decisions come from this place, okay? I'm also a coach. I'm also a mentor and a guide and a leader and a spiritual leader. And this is what is really important to me when it comes to the coaching industry, healing industry, yeah, trauma, coaching and trauma awareness. This is the most important part of all of you that are doing business in the business of people. Okay. What the industry teaches you is on hierarchy, number one. But what the industry teaches you, here we go. Is my marker going to work? There we go. Is this. The industry teaches you that at the top, the 1% that makes all the money are the most important people, okay? And your job as a coach is to become the 1%. And so you should hire a bunch of people and learn a bunch of skills and spend your whole life hustling and working so that you can become the 1%. So when you become the 1%, now you have screenshots and you have your Stripe account that shows all the money you've made. And now you have all of these pretty things, website pictures, things. So now you can prove to people that you're successful. So they'll hire you and chase this ladder. But what happens is a lot of people fall off this ladder because this ladder doesn't work for everybody. And now people are like, well, I was chasing this empty goal of just being this 1%, this fabricated version of what I should be, okay, to make money, and it feels like shit. And then a lot of people either don't get to this point, quit, burn out, become broke. And I'm like, this doesn't, number one, this doesn't work for me, right? But number two, this is so unfair to women. This is literally a version of the patriarchy, if we will, right? We've got the 1% at the top, and then under the 1%, we can call them the government. Under them is all of these narratives on how to survive, but really it's like these fabricated stories, like you must go to school and get a good degree and get a good job, and then you do that, and then that's not enough, right? You get it. I digress. Okay, this is the system that I've watched the coaching industry build on for a very long time. So much so that I burnt down my very successful multi six figure business because I was like, wait a minute, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Okay. Here's how I build and want other people to build and hope that the industry is willing to adopt. Okay. Is that you're a coach, a guide, a mentor, a healer of some kind with knowledge, medicine, and information to share with others to change lives. Okay. So we would call that like the circle, okay? You're in the middle of the circle and you're sharing with those around you your medicine or whatever it is that you have, because when you do, they're going to take that medicine to change their life, their children, their communities, and their clients. And every single person, right, is going to go change other lives with a new way of thinking, believing, and healing, or whatever it is that you taught. That's passed down as a new normal, which is then passed to their clients and communities and children's as new normals. And before we know it, we've now become culture leaders of a new way of living, thinking, and believing as a cycle breaker. Literally, that's what we're here to do, is break the cycles that we pass down to our children so they create new ways of living. But the coaching industry is not adopting this practice in full just yet, and I'm hoping that they will, because it will change our collectives. So it's, if people are saying, well, we want the matriarchy and we don't want the patriarchy, we want a different system, what are we willing to do about it? We must take our role as a coach, a healer, a guide, or a mentor as serious and sacred. You must treat it as sacred. So you can't always be focused on money, 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 money. It's who am I being and how am I being and how am I showing up and how am I operating myself and how am I leading myself and what is it that I'm passing down? And I'm not saying that if you have a business that's like, I help you make $10,000 million every night from posting reels, I'm not saying that that business model isn't important, but it's how do we connect to a bigger mission that is outside of ourselves, that actually makes the industry better, that makes the world better, that makes generations better by the work that we're doing, right? And as a leader, yes, I think you should be paid because, hello, breadwinner energy is about women making money. But we're making money from our roots, right? From our true, authentic selves, right? So that we can change lives through relations for restoration. Okay? This is really important. This is important to collective change. And if you're a coach, a guide, a healer, a mentor, a medicine woman, whatever it is you call yourself, a service to others, this is a very important model. Now, it's not only an important model because it literally changes lives and cultures and economies, right? The big mission. It's also important because you, as a woman, in general, like a woman making money and changing lives, you're up against a lot of systems that are not in your favor, right? Business funding as a woman, not in your favor. Business funding as a woman in online coaching, definitely not in your favor, right? There are a lot of systems at play. So when women have more money, they have more resources to do things like restoration work, to change bigger pictures, right? And you're building a business that changes lives in the meantime because we care about relationships and we care about people more than just the hierarchy of how you make a lot of money to show people that you make money. When in reality, it's like, what are we actually doing with this money and why is it important and how are we changing lives in the meantime? Okay. So this is the foundation of why I teach the work I do and why it's really important. Okay. How do you make this practical for your own business is what I'm going to show you how to do today. Before I show you how to make this practical for your own business, I do want to share with you, because this is day 3 and we're done at the end of today, is that if today, just today's class or just Monday's class is like really turning wheels in your head of like, oh, okay, this is like totally different than what I've learned. This is like really hitting something for me. I am inviting all of you to join Breadwinner Energy Academy. That is the program where we turn your roots into revenue. We take your roots and your lived experience and we turn it into a scalable business model. It's where we are going to learn what I'm about to show you and we're going to implement it into your business model. And you're going to get coached by me every single month on how to integrate this exact work into your business model. Okay. So if you're a coach, a guide, a healer, a mentor, and you want to learn how to build this simple business model and go from the one-to-one hustle and constantly trying to figure out your thing and constantly trying to figure out how do I do business and build business in this way, that's the program for you. It's a 12-month program. In your first 90 days, we're going to make sure that you have your scalable offer and Rome path built. We're going to be in May doing this together, a live intensive, and you're also going to get a 6-month audit one-to-one from me. I'm going to record a whole video on what is missing in your business and how to fill those gaps so that you can hit your goals in the next 6 months. We will have an email that goes out after this talking all about Breadwinner Energy Academy, how to join. The cost is $2,000 for the year. We do have payment plan. You'll get instant access inside. There's over 100 on-demand trainings, replays, guest experts, and you will get to dive into the content immediately and get started, plus live calls with me every month. Okay, let's get into all paths lead to Rome. This is what you will not only learn, but you will put into your business in real time inside of Academy. Okay? Before we can build your paths, all paths lead to Rome, we need to know, and let me say this too, and before we can build relationships, we need to know who are we building relationships with and why. Because here's the thing, a lot of you, especially if you're still in one-to-one work, I see this a lot, you're a shapeshifter. You're all the things to all the people all the time, and you're very vague, and you're like, I can help you do that, and you do that, and you do that, and oh, I've done that, and I've been through that, and I can experience that. And so now you're all the things to all the people, and that's why you don't get leads and you don't make a lot of sales, because it's not clear, cut, and dry of who you are, what you stand for, why do you stand for it, who should be in your world, who shouldn't, and drawing a line. When you do this, you will find your people. You will build relationships. But if you're not building relationships, it's probably a number of things. But one of the first things I'm going to look at is, do you know who you are and who you want to actually build relationships with? Who do you want to be in your tribe, per se? Okay? Because I also think of it this way. I have a program. It's called Licensing and Leadership. It's a 4-month intensive where I get your business fully ready to scale and you become a Breadwinner Energy leader inside of it. We've built it like a matriarchal system. Okay? A matriarchal system is all built on relationships, okay? But in this leadership program, every single woman in the group is the leader, okay? It's not a mastermind where I'm at the top and all of them are below me. It's a literal circle of how we impact others. They launch together, lead together, hire each other, collaborate with each other. The whole premise of the container is that they're all working together to grow and scale together. So they're not alone, okay? In this In this cycle, though, right? In this program, we've built it in a way that it just keeps feeding the group. But in order for you to get into this container, you have to apply. And when you go through this 4 month intensive, I am getting you ready to be a leadership person in this room. Meaning we all of us agree to abide by the fire codes. All of us. Okay. So if anyone has not built their business based on their roots, their lived experience, and their business model isn't scalable, and we don't all share the same values, this doesn't work. Because if we go launch together and collaborate and hire each other, we're going to be out of alignment. We're going to be like, well, we don't really see eye to eye here. Or I don't want this to be a representation of my business because I don't agree with this. Okay. Now, I could open the leadership room to say, all coaches, all business owners, if you have a business, come on in. And maybe that would work. Most people aren't going to join because they're like, I'm not sure if this is for me. I don't know if I want to collaborate with all the people in here. I've been in rooms where there's collaboration and there's not really collaboration because it's all just a bunch of hoopla. And everyone's promoting and everyone's grifting and no one's really collaborating. I could have built that. But there was a very specific mission to what I was building, which is a room of like-minded women who are in the industry, a black sheep, a cycle breaker. We have a lot of women of color, right? Because it's very important that you're building from your culture and your roots and your lived experience. And that's how you built your business on top of what do you value and believe in, okay? There's a lot of rooms where you could go be a part of them and those will fit you and maybe not fit other people, okay? We have to be specific. Put it in the chat. Are you clear and specific about who you are, what you do, who you help, all that? Is it very clear and micro specific? Okay, and the more clear and specific you can be, the better. And I'm going to give you examples when we do this exercise today. Are you clear and specific who you are, who you help, how you help them? Because if not, this doesn't work. You have to be clear and specific. Now, if you're like, no, I'm not clear and specific, well, then you need to be an academy because then we're going to get you clear and specific. Okay. Okay. So here's how this looks. All paths lead to Rome. At the very top of Rome, of the entry of your business. What am I doing? Let me do it this way. Can you guys even see? Am I too high up? Here. Okay. At the very top, what we're going to have come into your business through here is going to be like your channels. So this could be social media, Instagram, threads, wherever you get people, bundles, summits, collaborations, things, okay? And they're going to come into something in your business. And then I'm going to fill this in a minute. Stay with me. Which will go to something, which will go to something. But at the end of it, okay, all paths always lead to Rome, which is your signature scalable offer. And this offer must be a minimum of $2,000. Now, for some people, they're like, nope, I don't have an offer that could be worth $2,000. You need to be an academy because I will 1000% pull an offer out of you that is $2,000. The program that I had that I burned to the ground before I rebuilt my business was called Coach School. And I helped hundreds of women build group coaching programs. That's all I did. I had offer boot camp course. I taught women only how to do offers over and over and over and over and over again. I can help you build an offer literally from you telling me your story. You being like, this is my story, this is what I've been through. I'm like, boom, here's an offer. Here's how we make it scalable. That's what Academy does, okay? I digress. So all paths lead to Rome means that when someone comes into your world, okay, let's say that you, see, freebie. And there's a bunch of ways to do this. And for all of you that come in through Academy, you're not going to have this whole thing built. This is a scalable business, okay? But before we can go like scalable and be like, you have a mid ticket and a high ticket and a low ticket and a free, like, right, the whole funnel, right? Before you can do all that, you need to just have one scalable offer that you get really good at selling. That's it. It needs to be clear, simple, specific, and you get really good at selling it. And then you need to pick like one channel or two channels that you bring people in. So it could be like threads and a podcast. Okay. Podcast and or YouTube channel or somewhere where you can like share your voice with people because that's really going to be really important to this relationships aspect, okay? And then let's say that they come to something free, a free live event, a free masterclass, a free course, a free like private podcast, a free Telegram channel, a free community group, a free download, right? Whatever that thing is, right? Most of you have seen funnels that look like this. And that freebie then leads them somewhere. Could be a low ticket. It could be like a $22 offer. It could be a mid-ticket course. But at the end of the day, the only thing that we care about is that it leads to Rome, your scalable signature offer. So every single thing you do in your business should always lead to Rome. Whether you're talking on social media, you're creating content, you're doing a collaboration, a bundle, a summit. The problem is a lot of you guys sign up to do all the things in all the places for all the people, hoping you will sign a client. Now, this model works best if you can be simple, clear, direct and to the point, and feed it with relationships. So if you can do a path that leads to Rome in the most simplest way possible, I would tell you to do this. A social channel, a podcast, and your signature scalable offer. And you could swap something here free. Now, you could just put your podcast on YouTube and record free shit and put free stuff on YouTube. And it's all just cycles right through your podcast, right? Every single person that comes through Academy, you get your own path to Rome. Not everyone needs a podcast. Not everyone should be on Instagram or TikTok or Threads. I have Karina in this room. She is my TikTok queen. She is the TikTok person. But I have another person in licensing who I'm like, I don't really think TikTok's your thing. Let's find something else. I have people that are like, I don't really want to do that. Perfect. Let's not do it because if you have resistance, it's not going to work. But the first thing we need to do is just make sure that all the paths lead to this signature scalable offer. Now, I had a woman come to me. She's in licensing and she's also a one-to-one client and she was my hypnotherapist. Okay. And we not only created this entire model for her in 90 days, she has course sales coming in while she was on vacation, while she was sick, after her boob job, basically when she's literally doing anything. She has so many one-to-one clients that I'm like, if you do not get your group, like get the people in the group because she's so booked on one-to-one, right? But the thing is when she came to me, she was just being a hypnotherapist, okay? And I was like, well, hypnotherapy, the skill will change lives, and that's fine, but it's not specific enough, okay? So we need to be more clear and specific. Okay, well, I want to help women. Not clear and specific enough. We need to be more micro specific here. She's like, okay, so I want to help women take back their power. That was very vague, and a lot of people teach a lot of other people how to take back their power. We've got to be more specific. And she's like, okay, we finally landed on hypnotherapy to help women go from pain to power because they've been in codependent relationships their entire life. And they are stuck in codependency with partners, people, with people pleasing, and they're not able to take back their power because they feel hopeless and they feel guilty. And now they've recognized the cycle and they want to break it because it's ruining their own life, their own happiness. And they want to fully take back their power so that they can call in better relationships with not only friends and family, but partners too, and have freedom and independence in their life. She was not only codependent in relationships, she was literally a drug addict, codependent on alcohol and drugs to live her life. Fully took back her life, became sober for 10 years, and has now built a business that helps other women do the same thing with the skill of hypnotherapy. That is very specific from her lived experience, from her roots, okay? Here's the caveat. Not the caveat. Here's the part of relationships that we blend into this. If you want to build a business that's based on relationships, you need to be very clear in who you are, what you do, how you help someone do something based on your roots, and build a business model around it. Because If you're going out to social media, you're going out to bundles and summits and collaborations and all of these things to get in front of all of these people, and you're not clear and specific on who you are and what you do, you're going to call in a lot of dead weight. Your lists and your things will be filled with people who do nothing, who don't move and they don't buy from you because it's not clear and specific that you're the person that they should hire because of your roots. They don't know what you're selling. They don't know like what it is. It feels really vague. And then they just go end up hiring someone else that's way more clear and specific because you're still in the mindset of, but I can help everyone and I don't want to leave people out. Okay? That's part one of this. Part two of this, you get missed out on a lot of opportunities. There will be a lot of like podcasts and speaking events and guest coaching events that you don't get a yes for because it's not clear and specific. Now, if you somehow get past all of that and you bring people in and you've done the thing, right? And all that's, fine and dandy, and you've landed the events. Let's say that your list gets flooded with people. Let's say your list gets flooded with 500 ideal clients overnight. Is your business model and your nervous system and your identity ready for 500 leads that could turn into 100 clients? Can your business even sustain 100 clients? Probably not. So if you don't have the model, it becomes this cycle, right? Of like, I have to go find people. But if I bring people into my open house and there's no paint on the walls and there's no furniture and there's no snacks and there's no water and there's nothing for them to do, it's just an empty house with concrete, they're like leaving. They're going somewhere else, right? So we have to build the business in a way that can bring in people, but also in a way that will actually curate relationships. People build relationships on connection. So what are they connecting with you? How are they connecting with you? Okay. My business, Breadwinner Energy, women becoming the breadwinner of their own lives. Why? Because I was 24 years old. I had a 1-year-old and I was locked myself in my apartment bathroom after I put the baby to bed and promised myself that I would never be in a situation where I could not leave an abusive relationship ever again because I had money and resources to leave. And I waited for him to leave, like he always would, to go get drunk and high and whatever he did. And I would come out of that bathroom. And that was in 2018. And 2021, I became Breadwinner Energy to help other women. Because I was like, I know there's other women who feel trapped, whether it's the relationship, whether it's a job. But I also know that women are really under-resourced. That's a connection piece. A lot of women hired me because of just that one connection. And they're like, I want to learn business with you because you know what that's like. And I want to be able to leave these relationships and these jobs. And then I went on a podcast tour telling everybody about this story, how I created the business from it and how I can help you create it, which brought in clients from connection, from relationships. Then when they're in my world, I'm building relationships with them. All of my clients, I know a lot about their lives. I know about their literal childhoods, their parent dynamics. If they have kids, how old their kids are. Do they have boys? Do they have girls? Are they married? Are they single? Where they live? All of my clients, I build relationships with. Not from codependency, not from I need to hold your hand and know everything about you, but because we build relationships while I'm coaching them. I don't just coach them at surface level. I'm like, okay, your business isn't working. You're not niching down. You're not able to build this. You're not able to decide this. This is coming up. And I'm like, okay, tell me about your mom. Tell me about your childhood. Karina's like been with me now for like 3 years, right? She just left her 9 to 5 and she's now building her second business. Karina knows we've been through the things together, right? We're building those relationships. So when you build relationships with people in your containers and you truly take care of people and you understand people and you understand why they are the way they are and how they are the way they are and you connect with them on that level and you feed them through your business in that level, not only do they stay with you for years, they tell other people how well you did business with them. And then other people want to be a part of that. So my business model is built on relationships. My stepdad's been in business for 30 years in a small town with less than 1,000 people. He builds swimming pools. 30 years. He makes multi-six figures. He's booked out on a wait list every year for him to come build them a swimming pool. It's not an essential item. It's a luxury item that costs a lot of money. He has no website. He has no social media. He does nothing online. He doesn't even own a computer. He doesn't know how to work his smartphone whatsoever. And he's been in business 30 years, booked out on waitlist from relationships and word of mouth only. And that's how I built my business. Now, can you build your business faster with ads or trends or the things that people will tell you online? Probably. Yeah, you probably could. But you're going to run into the same problems because you can go post and go viral on social media, but are you clear and micro specific? And do you have a model that leads to Rome? Do you have a signature scalable offer that's at least $2,000? That's also set up for you to be free. That's set up for you to have time off and make impact in your clients' lives. The thing is anyone could join Breadwinner Energy Academy right now while I'm on this call. They would pay, sign their contract, get instant access into the room, and start learning and going through the trainings while I'm on this call, or after this while I'm with my kids, or while I'm literally sleeping. All of that's happening in the background, even when I'm doing other things. When I come to the next Academy call, I will then be able to see new faces, and they could be like, hey, I just watched 47 hours of training. Here's all the questions. Here's all the breakthroughs. Here's all the things that happened. We coach, I answer their questions, and then we come to the next call, and they're like, between calls, I did this, realized this, thought this, had this breakthrough, had this happen. Now here's where I'm at. Let's talk about it. All of that is happening because of the way that I built this offer. Okay. But if I didn't have this, and let's say I just have a $22 offer, okay, instead of a $2,000 offer, but I want to make, let's say I want to make 100K. I think that's like a really popular number for your business to make, which really making 100K is like making what, 80K after taxes? I don't know. I'm just going to guess. So let's say you want to make $100,000 and you have a $22 offer. You need 4,545 buyers of this. Okay? But and honestly, because it's a $22 offer and it's self-paced, like a fourth of them are even going to get all the way through it. They're going to like be excited and open it and they're going to be like fall off. We know how courses kind of just sit and rot sometimes, right? Okay, but your $2,000 offer, don't judge me for using a calculator. You need 50 people, which is significantly less. But then if we talk about like leads, how many leads do you need, right? Significantly less leads because you're not getting 44,000 buyers if you have 1,000 people in your audience, right? Or if you have 5,000 people in your audience, 4,500 aren't buying. That's like 95% not happening. So you need less leads, less people, and more intimate, changing more lives. Now, this offer, they're literally live with you, experiencing being coached by you, getting results with you. Less buyers, more intimate, less leads, more relationship based, bigger impact in offers. Most people will tell you this is so much easier to buy, to sell. It's so much easier to sell. No. My number one most popular program from all of my years of being in business was Coach School, and it was $10,000 to be in that room to learn how to build a group coaching program and scale it. My most popular offer, I even sold smaller things in that time. My most popular offer was Coach School at $10,000. This is not easier, okay? This also is not more relationships either. And then when people come to Academy, and I coach them for a year, we've now built a relationship. You know what happens? They're like, I've never learned coaching from someone like you before. I've never been in a room like this before. Or I really like being in this room. They renew their year. They stay. And they tell other people. And then they eventually move into licensing, which is $10,000 for your license in year one. And then it's $3,000 every year after that to stay in the room, to be put on the public directory, to be in the leadership room where we literally platform your business and you work with other people to scale. Okay? That's a long-term relationship-based business model. because my model is built on relationships of people. I don't want people to come into Breadwinner Energy Academy and just sit there and listen to courses all day. I want you to use what I built and I want you to come ask me questions and I want you to get coached by me and I want you to go change your life. And if you're not changing your life and you're not getting results, my work is not what I'm here to do. Like, I want you to change your life. And I want you to go tell other people how you changed your life. And then I want you to use your story of how you changed your life to go inspire other people to change their lives with your story. A relationship-based model. I don't want 4,000 people to take a $22 whatever. I don't care. That how sure, maybe you're going to get some information and that's great, but that doesn't equal big impact. Lives changed. No? See, this is the model. Now, the top of it though, the top that gets people into the world, right? Because we need leads. How do we build relationships with leads? You can build relationships a million ways. My favorite way right now is Threads. I have loved Threads. It has been like really awesome to be on Threads. I've been on Threads now for a month. I've been on for a month. I have 68,000 views in 30 days. Let me pull this up here so you guys can see. Is that gonna... Come on. It's blurry. Can you guys see that? Is it letting you see right there? 68,000. And I have 1,900 followers. Okay. That's been my favorite way to create relationships with people. But there's a million ways. Summits, bundles, public speaking, literally having conversations with people, live events. There's a million ways to create relationships. But in order to create the relationship, I also need to know, what am I doing? How am I changing lives? And who do I want to call in? Okay. So Academy is going to be best for you if you're somebody who has or wants to build a business from your roots, from your lived experience. You're somebody who wants to build a business that is in the business of people, and you're taking your role as sacred because you understand how what you give to others passes down. Okay. If that's important to you, that's the right person to be in the room, right? The right person to be in the room wouldn't be a product-based business. It just wouldn't, because we're teaching different concepts. Okay. If you're someone where your whole business has been built off of regurgitating a certification or someone else's course, and that's what you want to keep doing, not the room for you. But if you're like, I did that and I did make that mistake, but it doesn't feel good, it doesn't feel right, that is the room for you. And when I've built my business in this way on relationships, which I call in Academy embodiment-based sales, I don't say, go DM 30 people and tell them about your product and sell to them. I don't teach consult calls. If you want to do consult calls, you can. I have clients that do them. I'm not saying you have to do consults. You have to do reels. You have to do mini chat. I'm telling you to be a real human with a story and lived experience and roots and thought leadership, which is what you believe and what you stand for, not to trigger people because it's truly what you believe at your core, it's your values, to build an offer that's based on what we talked about yesterday, which is called the bridge method, has actual steps to the bridge and how you take people from one side of the bridge to the other and you actually get them real results and you don't fabricate the results, right? If that is like, I want to do that. I want to have a simple business model. That's the place for you. Academy is the place for you to do those things. Yeah? Okay. I have done a lot of coaching and teaching and talking at you guys for 47 minutes. I want to leave a couple minutes left. Do any of you have questions from what I talked about today? Do you have questions? Thoughts, feelings, any of the things? There's nothing off limits here. You can just ask. How are we feeling post this? I want to go back up. Okay, I feel terrible. I want to read this again from Sarah. I feel terrible at closing deals, and the whole relationships are more important has been a big part of that. So yeah, really resonated. Okay. So closing deals and sales probably feels really bad because you're like been told this script of like, you put this sales hat on and you're like, now I'm going to sell to you. And then it's like this script of like what you have to follow. And then there's like, and make sure there's pressure and make sure there's timing and make sure there's like urgency and all these things to make people feel like they need to buy, right? And it feels bad because it's like, I don't want to convince people. I don't want to have to like perform this thing, right? That's what we teach in embodiment-based sales is being embodied in your lived experience, being embodied in your work and just telling people and showing people what you do and why you do it and how they can do it and why they would want to do it and invite them in to do that, right? I don't have to convince you. If you're like, I resonate with this, I like this, I liked working with you, I liked hearing you, I liked experiencing this call, I'm really interested. And then you go to the sales page and you're like, this is me. I want to learn how to do this. I want to implement this into my business. You join. Yeah. It's not like me being in your DMs like, hey, are you going to join this? Urgent message. I will close the doors. You'll never get to join again. That feels like shit. I don't build my business that way. Now, here's the thing. Some people genuinely do close the doors because they're like, I can only take this amount of people and then I walk them through X amount of weeks and I literally have to close the doors. That's different. That's different than being like, the doors will close. The price will go up $30 million tonight. People are so over it. People are over it. But if I tell you who I am and what I've been through and what I've experienced and what I've learned and how I can change your life and change your business and what I know to be true about you and what my work does and how it does it, you're going to be like, yes or no. And I'm going to accept your yes or no. Because if you're a no, I'm not going to be like, well, check with your husband, check with your wife, check with your mom and your girlfriend and put it on a credit card. If you want to be in that room, you will be in that room. Karina's a single mom, years ago, sold items out of her garage because she was like, I'm going to be in that room. I am determined to be in this room. Can I afford it right now? No. So I'm going to sell shit out of my garage until I can. And she did. And now, a few years later, she left her 9 to 5. Right? That's what I want in the room because those are the women that come live, that show up, that do the work, that build the businesses, that ask the questions and take the coaching. And I don't want anyone else in the room who I have to drag you through and convince you to buy from me. I don't want to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to invite you to work with me. And if it's a yes, I love that and I'm excited. And if it's a no, I respect that. And I don't want to follow a script and I don't want to follow a playbook of sales, which is literally why all of today, I'm like, hey, here's who I am. Here's how I built my business on relationships. Here's why I find it to be important. That goes back to my values and my roots. Here's what I teach my clients. Here's what my clients have done. Here's the invite to join. That's how I sold to you all day and all week. That's it. That's how to build a business that doesn't feel like crap when you sell. You're like just telling the people. It all aligns with how I have been shifting. Yes, I'm a VA OBM while shifting to live coaching sessions. Yeah. It's just unfortunate because our industry has been taught differently and we didn't know what we didn't know because I literally built my business on this years ago because I thought that was what I had to do to create success. And I was like, well, that doesn't really feel good. I don't like that. I'm just going to keep doing what this other thing is. And it's worked for me and I've made a lot of money and I've gotten a lot of clients and I've gotten a lot of client results. And then I get to go be a full-time stay-at-home mom to my 2 kids and take care of my plant babies and my children and live my life. And that's literally what work is meant to do. Yeah. And there are obviously seasons in your business where you're building, right? We're building your Rome. And when you're building, it takes more time because you literally have to build. Like one of my clients right now, she's in a building phase. We're building out her sales pages and her website and the things that make her Rome work. And once it's built, you get to have it built and just push people to it. So once you've built your Rome, we have like your path to Rome. So we know when we invite people into your world, where do they go? Then it makes it really easy, right? Because now let's say, okay, you're going to go on what we call tour. You're going to go on tour. This is what we're doing with licensing. Your tour is like, I'm going to take my signature talk, if you will, and I'm going to now go and be on a bunch of podcasts and I'm going to go guest coach. That's going to be the way that I bring in new leads and new people and new faces into my world over the next 3 to 6 months. Perfect. So we're like, okay, cool. Who is your dream person? Who's the person that you want to work with, love to work with, and what do you help them do? You won't know that until you build your scalable offer, and once you do, you'll know. And now we're like, okay, who else in the industry shares the same values or mission or vision or values and has that same ideal client in their audience, but that coach, mentor, guide, leader person does something different than me? Because now we can collaborate and I can come into their world and share my magic with their audience, who's my literal ideal client. And then I can invite them to Rome. And I can say, if you really liked this, head over to my website where you can download my freebie. Come to my YouTube channel where you can watch this free class. Download my free masterclass. Whatever that thing is to literally take those people and now move them into Rome. Okay. Now let's say they come to a free masterclass that you've recorded, and let's say it's this, and they're like, oh, I really want to build my business with relationships. Perfect. Come to Academy. They start to go to Academy and they're like, I'm not ready for a $2,000 investment, because some people won't be. Okay, come to the Fire Pit. It's $22 a month, and you have literally like a lot of on-demand trainings, over 50 hours of on-demand trainings, and it's roots work. It's the beginning of understanding your roots, your story, who you are, and decolonizing your business and your mindset, and fully walking away from everything you were learned as that doesn't work for you. And that's a perfect place to get started. Or just stay on the email list and listen to my podcast. It's completely free, but they're in my world. If I'm always talking about the same things to the same people all the time, they're eventually going to move into the funnel somewhere, right? So let's say some people just jump straight to Academy, they go through, they go to licensing. Some people are going to go to Academy and then they're going to be like, I just go to the Fire Pit for a little bit. And then they come back and then they go to licensing. Some people are going to come to the Fire Pit and they're going to wait and then they might just jump straight to licensing. Like that's how all paths lead to Rome, because you're always just putting the same person in your world over and over and over again. You're always talking about the same thing to the same person over and over and over. So then you go to the summit and you speak on your said topic, and you're like, if you want to learn more, go to this thing. And then that leads to that thing, and then that leads to that thing over and over and over. And before you know it, you've done this for 3 to 6 months. You brought in hundreds, if not thousands, of new faces. You're always telling the same stories to the same person about the same things, the same mission, the same vision, the same values, the same results, the same outcomes. And eventually there's going to be that person who joined 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 12 months ago, 2 years ago. And they're like, you know what? I'm ready now. And then they jump in. And that's the momentum wheel. You've now built up all of this momentum for 6 months, a year, and it's all built on these relationships. And now people are referring you, and people who came to your list 3 months ago or 6 months ago came to a live event. Now they're joining your container, right? It all cycles, but it's all built around you being this person who does this thing for this person who helps them get this result. And that's all you talk about and take on tour. And you do it through relationships. Yeah? And it will also help you mentally, because when you go on social media and they're like, buy this thing, this Reels packet, take this ads course, do that, and you'll stop doing like this, oh, I should do that, oh, I should do that, oh, you'll stop doing that. You'll be like, I have my path, it is built, I know who I am, what I do, who I help, I'm here to create, to give, to serve, and to call in my people and go serve those people. And if I'm ever looking at things online to do or buy or whatever, I'm literally looking through the lens of collaboration or service. And that's it. And then social media doesn't become so daunting, because if it's like a thing that I don't care about, I'm like, just like not interested, unfollow. And I'm focused on like serving people and having conversations and building relationships and having fun and asking people questions like, what do you think? And why do you think that? And now that gets people talking, and then they go to your page and they're like, oh, I like that. And then they follow, and now they go in the pipeline. All paths always lead to Rome, because you're always doing and saying the same things to the same people. Yeah? How are we feeling? How are we feeling? Thank you guys for being here for this full call. If you missed day 1, which was all about roots, really, your roots, your lived experience, you can get it on my YouTube. Again, that replay will go out, as well as this one. And if you're like pondering, if you're thinking, you're like, I feel like I need to do this. I feel like this is for me. Breadwinner Energy Academy. The doors are open. Join me live, 12 months access. You get instant access inside. We have multiple payment plan options, and you will receive a 6-month in-depth video audit from me, as well as your business plan for how to hit your goals over the next 6 months. All right. Thank you. Thank you all for being here today for this call for the last 3 days. And I'm very excited to see and watch how you guys build your paths to Rome and build your business on roots, reciprocity, and relationships. All right. Bye, everybody.